hop scholar family, hip hop heads from around the world, gather round, because it's time for another episode of the Hip Hop Scholar. Today, we are opening the mic for a voice that yields a pen that bleeds honesty and genius, and a soul that carries the weight of worlds in every bar. When you talk about artistry that transcends borders, genres, and expectations, the name Nyota Parker has to rise to the surface. She is a lyricist, a visionary, and a truth teller. Born into a lineage that stretches across Ireland and the Congo, molded in the heart of Cape Town, and now resonating globally from New York to Montreal and beyond. Every space she's touched has left its imprint on her, and she in turn has given that energy back to the culture of hip hop and music. Neota's legendary journey is the story of courage: courage to innovate, courage to claim independence, courage to be vulnerable and still powerful. While others run after waves, she makes the tide. While some bend to industry mold, she shatters them with her own sound, fusing rap, neo soul, jazz, R&B, and so much more, a dynamic world that only Nyota Parker could imagine. Now, her mixtapes and albums, Age of Enlightenment, Spectrum, Intrusive Thoughts, Avec Compte de Fait, are not just projects, they're experiences. They invite us to confront what we hide, celebrate what we love, and wrestle with the intrusive thoughts we all carry but barely speak out loud about. Her lyrics are rich with imagery, fearless in delivery, and unapologetically original. But it doesn't stop with the music. Nyota is proof that independence is not a limitation, it's freedom. She keeps ownership of her masters, creative control over her art, and a steadfast refusal to compromise her vision. In an industry that often tries to silence individuality, Nyota Parker stands tall as an example of what it means to be rooted, authentic, and revolutionary. And let's be clear, Nyota Parker is adored. Adored by her listeners who find healing in her words, adored by scholars and critics who recognize the depth of her pen, adored by fellow artists who know they're witnessing greatness unfold in real time. Nyota is an artist. She paints, she teaches, she moves you. So buckle in, family, because today you're about to sit with brilliance. You're about to hear from an artist who embodies the very essence of what hip hop was born to be: a global language of truth, resilience, and soul. With all the love and the respect and all the flowers that she deserves, it is my absolute honor to welcome to the Hip Hop Scholar Podcast the incomparable, the iconic, the one and only Nyota Parker. Yes.
Wow, that's probably like the best intro I've ever received. That
Oh,
was so wonderful. Really, really thoughtful.
I mean,
That's really, really
absolutely.
thoughtful.
Because of thoughtful artists like you, I'm appreciate that you appreciate the appreciation. But we definitely give flowers here at the Hip Hop Scholar Podcast. How are you doing today, Nyota?
No, I appreciate it. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing fantastic. I had a very calm day today, and was looking forward to this. So I'm really happy. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking. It has been a day, and again, the excitement to get to interview you is definitely all honor, and I'm just geeked out right now. I'll be honest with you.
No, I'm super pleased with the way everything is going.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I know you have the fans, especially around the world. So I know you've described growing up between Ireland and South Africa.
Yeah.
And then also you're navigating spaces like New York and Montreal and all around the world. So talk to me. How do those different environments and cultural roots show up in your music and lyrical style?
Yeah, no, like basically, it's a lot of places. I was born in Ireland, lived there until I was about 5 years old. So like, I don't know too much about the Irish side. Although it's a great place. But Cape Town is a place where my family from Congo came through in like 1990, and like have been there, established with my grandma's business. She does like arts and crafts as well. So the creativity kind of runs in the family. And being in a place like Cape Town, and then being someone who's already half Congolese, half Irish, and South Africa is already super mixed with so many different ethnicities, and then coming over to New York and then Montreal, where it's even just everywhere that you could ever imagine. I would say it shaped me in a sense of like I took from my experiences of feeling like an outcast in a sense, and
Mm-hmm.
realized that actually we're all kind of like doing this outcast thing together in our own specific way. And I put that into specifically my lyrics. And that's why I'm able to, I feel like, fuse all these different sounds, because I'm able to see how my world, all of my worlds can collide in a beautiful way. And I'm able to, just fuse all my different inspirations, all these different genres within, like, under, like, I feel like the umbrella of hip hop, with the hip hop, neo soul, rap, jazz type of thing. I feel like it made it a bit easier for me to envision my sound, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just drew inspiration from like everything that you mentioned, like all the places I've been to, grown up in, learned from, and it just helped shape the way that I'm able to mix, or where I get all of my inspirations from. More less of like how my sound is made, but more so how I'm able to envision it coming together. If that makes sense.
Oh yeah, it makes total sense. It's
Yeah.
blended like a beautiful gumbo. Like it's such a rich original sound that gives nod to that old school hip hop. So let me ask you this question, Nyota. This is a question I ask all my guests. When did you
Mm-hmm.
fall in love with hip hop? What was that song for you or that moment for you that got you into that mode of becoming the artist that you are now and growing too? Yes.
That's a wonderful question. I keep falling in love with hip hop in so many different environments, and I feel like the first time that I really properly got into it was in I used to be picked up by my uncle Papin back in Cape Town from school, and I was maybe, I don't know how old I was, but I was very young, maybe like 10, 11, whatever. He would pick me up from school, drop me off at my mom's house and stuff, and he would just be playing the latest whatever, whether it's South African hip hop, which a lot of the names I don't even remember everything that I heard, but I know I was tuned into a lot of like Lil Wayne and a lot of Nicki Minaj, which is quite interesting because our sounds are very different. But seeing a woman in the game doing, like, dominating the way that she was dominating, I was like, nah, like this is possible. So it was one of those songs from that era, and then I started delving into, you know doing the roots, the research behind it, going into Tribe Called Quest, like the Tribe Called Quest, all of that, and I was just doing the research myself after that, after being introduced to what was current at that moment. I don't have a particular song, but I know the artists that have made the impact on me, and why I actually wanted to start telling my music through rap and poetry, changing poems that I had previously written, and adding like a cadence, a rhythm to it, a beat to it. Um, yeah, those are some people that influenced me to begin.
Well, and those are some iconic artists there. Lil Wayne, from his start. Lil Wayne started when he was younger. He was like 13, 14 years old with Cash Money Records, very young in the game and growing into this hip hop legend that he is. And then Nicki Minaj is one of my greatest film MCs as well, which
Really,
I can definitely see that, right? Where again, the originality. Nicki came in to not only dominate, but to make her own lane. So she, uses
really,
the personalities. She uses the different sounds and the different type of fashions, and she's a true lyricist at the same token as well. No matter if you're looking at some, I know there was a collab between her, Lil Wayne, and Drake. No More Frauds. That was one of my favorite songs, along with Chun Li and a slew of other songs that I'm trying to think off the top of my head. But that is such,
yeah,
some icons that you're bringing up, though, Neota.
definitely. And like, not to interrupt you, but like, you have to also keep in mind when it was that time. I was only born in 2000, so I wasn't even alive yet when the I listened to were popping up. Now the likes of the Quest, the Banal, uh, Muhammad News, all of that. Like, I was not born yet, so that's why the first people I listened to were people that were popping up then.
Right, right. I remember that you were very young. We were talking about some lyricists like Lil Wayne and Nicki Minaj that have influenced you, but that research, I think that was what was so insightful, and
Hmm.
what really brought my attention was that you brought in the Tribe Called Quest. You know your history when it comes to that old school type Diggable Planets. Erica Badu, I think you said that you were the if Erica Badu was your surrogate mother, and the parents were who are the parents? Your hip hop parents?
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. I was saying if the whole of a Tribe Called Quest had a baby with who? With Lady, did I say with Ladybug Mecca and gay and Erica Badu was a surrogate or something like that? No,
Something.
Bahamadia was involved in there somewhere. I don't know. There was all three of them somehow.
Yeah, and that really encompasses your sound to such a phenomenal degree. So tell me about that research. Like, were you actually going out to get cassette tapes and CDs and vinyl, or were you able to find some things on YouTube or talking to your uncle? Shout out to your uncle for introducing you to hip hop. So tell me about your research methods.
So I would ask my uncle. I would ask him all about like what I would ask my mom as well, ask them what they grew up on, all types of music as well. It wasn't just like hip hop, it was like Bob Marley's and them that I was able to, just go back in and just have like a whole old school journey. I used a lot of YouTube, so I downloaded so many songs and videos, listened to a whole bunch of stuff on my uncle's iPod. Like I did this research like with an intention, and I even had a book where I was writing out, okay, so this person did this first, Q-Tip did this, and I had a whole book somewhere at home. Yeah, I it was all through YouTube and SoundCloud and think places that I didn't have to pay for music for just yet because I was a kid. I did not have money for like Apple Music or Spotify and stuff. Yeah, and I would just like watch a whole lot of MTV all the time, but that wasn't playing really uh old school music. But yeah, I somehow I just found it through the different corners of the internet.
And those influences, being able to reach out to your mom and your uncle. Shout out to your mom and your uncles as well. And so you also talked about that outcast feeling, right? And that's something that I can definitely connect to you with, because when I was growing up in the late 1900s, I ain't
Yeah.
gonna tell you my age, but I was listening to Yo MTV Raps, listening to BET, listening to all those music channels, and I grew up in the South, but I was still listening to East Coast music. I had the West Coast music, listening to Les Nubians, that group. I mean, I was able to, but not a lot of people around me was into all of those different types of influences.
Hmm.
So let me ask you, as a fellow outcast, as especially with me being more comfortable with our identity,
Yeah.
how were you able to navigate that and stay true to who you are without those outside influences trying to change you?
Yeah, that's really valid. I think I have a very strong foundation from home, specifically from my mom. She's a single parent, raised me by herself, but I also had a strong foundation from like my grandparents' house, and she has many siblings as well. I think my mom would never let me from a very young age would never let me forget that I'm a special person, a special being, someone to never compromise my beliefs and faith, and that was really instilled in me from a very young age. It was actually very hard to. I feel like for me, it's very hard for me to um, feel things like peer pressure because I don't know. It's just something that was instilled in me from such a young
Mhm.
age. Yes, I'm inspired by a new braid trend or like I don't know this and that. But when it comes to the things of my that I'm passionate about, my soul, my faith, my future. I think that yeah, I was able to stay strong because I know exactly what it is that I want for my future, and I'm unable to compromise uh, the I'm unable to compromise those foundations that my family instilled in me because I feel like I would be betraying myself. Like I feel like I have a strong sense of like I'm very sensitive to to those around me as well as my emotions. I just feel very sensitive about a lot of things, and I don't want to ever feel like I'm betraying myself or my mom. Um, so it comes more from like an emotional standpoint. Yeah, everything that I listen to, that I consume, media wise, is all like I try to make it something that has a positive impact on my learning experience throughout my life. So it's not, except for like some random TikToks that when I'm doom scrolling, but that's besides the point. But yeah, I think my faith and my future and not compromise, learning to not compromise along the years is what's helped me to stay very solid in like who I am, whether or not people agree with it or try to outcast me. Because hey, it's all right. It's on my path, and it's the narrow one. And that's what I would prefer. Yeah.
And that's something that I think you teach through your music too, Nyota. That being uncompromising, also being that empath. Like you say, you feel the feelings of others. You recognize your feelings when you're around other people and environments. All of those things resonate very true with that, and I think that's so important, especially in this generation and moving forward, how important it is to love self, to have knowledge of self. And that's just, I think, a craft of your lyricism that you definitely portray that I've seen in my bit of research. And when I tell you I'm a fan for sure, I'm a fan for life, Nyota Parker, because
Oh,
you do give those nods. You have that research. And I'm so thankful, too, that you have those roots, not just of one genre of music. You were introduced to many different types of music, but also holding true to who you are and who you are destined to be. Um, I want to add, your lyrics are noted for being deeply introspective and intentional. Can you walk us through kind of like your creative process? Do you start with the words? Is it with a beat, with colors maybe, or moods? What do you say as far as your experience with creating the music? What can you talk to us about your creative
yeah.
process?
No, there's many ways in which I approach it. I feel like if someone sends me a beat, sometimes I just work off of that and I start voice memoing like a random melody or flow into my voice memos, and then a word may jump out at me. I'm like, okay, that sounds like it could be a prompt. And I start writing from that. That's like the most random way, right? Or sometimes I would, you know, be at my friend's home studio, and they're like cooking up something, and I'm like, oh, I've got maybe a melody to lay down, and we just start like writing then and there. I'm someone who likes to take the thing home with me and like write from home. I don't. I'm more of a writer than a freestyler. Like as much as freestyling is very very important, but it's like it's not everyone's forte. My forte is like putting together cohesive story or something. You know, that's what I feel confident in doing. So I like to take it home, write with a concept, um, in mind. Maybe if it's for an album of mine, I like to have like a whole storyline ahead of time, and a reason why I want to put the album out. So it all depends on what the storyline of the album is. If it's a single, usually those are the more random ones. I'm like, oh, like I guess this does need to come out. But the creative process ranges from like me writing at 3 a.m. and I'm like, oh wait, I'm in the flow, like right now, or being on the subway and I'm just writing down like a line, a bar at a time. You know, it's very random.
As the spirit moves within you, right? And as you move through life, you kind of blend in and blend out. And the intentionality of that. I love how you say that it's either in the home studio of a dear friend or you bring it home to you. So your music is very personable. And it's personal to you, but it's very personable where you want to take your time. You want to make certain that you have the targets exactly as you want them, and as you see them. And even with all of that, though, and I want to share this, it's a live band performance. I want to share this with the audience and us watch it. I mean, when I saw this, when I say the effortless way that you perform your lyrics and then you sing on top of that. And with this particular video, you actually have a live band, which I think
Hmm?
that like you say, a freestyler is one essence when it comes to performing hip hop,
Yes.
but being able to perform with a beat machine and perform with a band, those are different tiers and different levels of hip hop. So let's look at and share with the audience this live band performance, because when I tell you this is such an amazing tribute, because dear audience, hip hop fam, you're going to see Nyota Parker sitting there just naturally in her natural beauty on a table with a candle, and then she's going to belt out this beautiful melody with the accompaniment of all of these different instruments and singers. You have to experience that right now. So here we go.
Yeah.
An amazing team with me. We got Desi and Zigua on the vocals. We got Jordan Pistilli on the keys. We got Avi on the guitar. Samant on the drums. Funky What on the bass. And this is Solus. Yeah, we here with the desk. You feel me? Yeah. Some people, now they better hang tight. Now I'm hopeless, but I'm the one who's chosen. Say what you want about me. You can never call me soulless. Yeah. You can never call.
Oh, yes, yes. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Encore, encore.
Hope
Oh
you
my
went.
goodness. So again, that effortlessness that you have with performing, Nyota, you are such a star. So with that, thank you so much for sharing your art with the world. And then please, the names of the singers, who those backup singers did such an amazing job, and you can tell that the instrumentalists were just feeling it as well.
They
You
were
want to
all.
talk to us about it?
They're all.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, I didn't mean to. Yeah, interrupt. Sorry, I think there's also a slight delay in my audio. Um, no, yeah, like all of those are my friends first and foremost, right? The two singers, Desi and Zibua, incredible singers as well, and they also performed with me at the Jazz Fest here in Montreal. And then on the keys, there was Jordan Pistilli, also a fantastic musician, always performing around. Abby Kaplan, who is the guitarist and also the musical director of my Jazz Fest. Like he's a very very good friend of mine. He's produced a few tracks of mine, and he created all the charts. Like it charted out, wrote out all the music for every single song that I did add to my Jazz Fest performance, and then he was just like really nicely directing everybody whilst playing the guitar. So he's like, I really trust him. There's Samant, who was on the drums there. He produced the beats, like the original beat of the song itself. He's the producer. He was just like sitting there easy. He's also a fantastic solo musician. His music is so dope. There was Funky What, who is the bassist, really like very talented as well. He works with a few artists around Montreal, and it's not the same band that I use um, for the Jazz Fest, except the singers and Abby the guitarist and me. So but yeah, for that one, those were the musicians. Really, just they did their thing.
I mean, you all did that. I mean, the thing that you all did was done so well, and such a soul stirring way to produce that song, because you have the video that goes along with the song, which is beautiful, and I'm going to tag it in the full interview so that our audience can definitely see that along with the rest of your links. You have a portfolio of music. You have several albums, several videos. I mean, you are out there internationally. Again, bending genres, this genre bending and innovation that you do, again, effortlessly. You're sitting there and you're singing such a melody, and then you go into this rap lilt and you have that candle by you, and then just the whole essence of it, it's spiritual. And I appreciate it divinely. It's so amazing.
Yeah, thank you very much. I love hearing this yeah, this perspective because I can only ever see it from me performing it and then watching it afterwards and be like, okay, that's something that's really special to me. But hearing it, hearing it from you, and we're in different places, different generations as well, different backgrounds, all of that. I'm really, really happy to know that it connects.
It connects, it is satisfying. And I love that you essentially the satisfaction of self of making that, having that the power of the audience listening to the words and this project or this experience that you've created, there's no feeling like that. And so that innovation, what does innovation mean to you as an artist? And then how do you balance that experimenting with honoring the traditions in hip hop and soul? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, how does repeat the first question. How does innovation, I missed the word.
So, you're innovative. You're an innovator. What does innovation mean to you as an artist?
Okay, yeah. What innovation means to me as an artist, I would say there's so many ways to interpret that, because essentially innovation is like making, to me at least, I've been inspired by many artists, and then adding that touch, that little bit of a gem on top of that, and making it my own, and making it a whole new, whether it's a trend, a new message through different through the same medium, which is music, through the beat, the 808s, or through like a certain chord progression, and elevating it to a point where it's like my own thing, where people can draw inspiration, can draw references to my music, but not be able to compare me to others, because we're all in our complete different lanes. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's what it means to me. And taking it to another level, elevating a specific chord structure, a specific vocal. Maybe even if you're sampling something, you're adding something to the track, where it's like, okay, that's the Nyota Parker version. That's like crazy, or that's the jazz groupies version. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what it means to me. I feel like that's where I don't even know which aspects it come at this from, but yeah, that's briefly it.
Because it's a feeling, it's hard to describe that feeling. Again, like you said earlier, you are moved by this spirit that encompasses you, whether you're writing. And so I wanted to ask you, let me ask you two more questions. Are you writing pen to paper, or are you a digital writer?
It depends where I am. If I'm on the subway, and I have my phone in my hand already, I'm just gonna go into my notes, and I'm gonna screenshot it, and I'm gonna email it to myself, because the technology will fail you somehow. So I don't want to forget those bars. But if I'm at home and I have the paper, and I have multiple like lyric books or journals, and I'm just gonna it feels nice to write it down and see where I messed up, because I don't like to. Not even messed up, because like on the phone you can only really see like that you erased something and you're just writing over it. But in my book, I'm able to like just scratch it out, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe even go back to that and be like, oh wait, that could have actually worked, or I could just be like, I can see my train of thought, like where I was coming from, and like yeah, it's nice to have like a visual representation of my mind on in a book. So it depends.
Mm-hmm.
It really depends.
Mm-hmm. It's a phenomenon to take what you have here and then be able to see it, because you have it here in your brain, right? It's there and you know it and you have it, but to actually see it manifested and create it into fruition, that is a totally different thing. And that's a disconnect that a lot of people don't have. And then when it comes to music, people don't appreciate that part of what it takes to create something, no matter what type of an artist you are, whether you are a singer, a rapper, an instrumentalist, a support person. When it comes to the music, it takes an effort. And it takes those neurons firing in the brain to do that as well. So
Yeah.
I wanted to build on that question to ask you: did you take any music classes growing up? Were you in a choir or anything?
Yeah, what's interesting, like I went to this school called the International School of Cape Town, and it was very tiny school. It was very much PWI, and like I was just there, and also being like there were like only a certain number of black people at the time in that school in South Africa, which makes no sense, because South Africa is like I don't, it's majority is black people, but in this school in particular, you had white people from South Africa and other places all around the world. So to be like some of the only black people in that school was very strange. Sorry, that was just like a bit of information on that because I was the only person also really pursuing music, trying to pursue music professionally in that point, and nobody was really trying to take it seriously. And then that kind of what made me doubt myself at a little stage in my life that I got over. But I was the only person also taking music in the 12th grade. I was the only person in the music class. So it's that that's where I was able to really just like experiment with a lot of music. But I never actually had instrument lessons, nothing like that. More vocally with my music teacher, Mrs. Cilias. Shout out to Miss Cilias because she's the one that forced me to get on stage to perform because I was so shy at that time. She forced me to get on stage to perform for my exam, and she said because she knew that I could, I could perform, I could sing here and there, and she's like, look, you're not gonna pass this year if you're not gonna sing at this school concert. And I said, fine, I'll do it. And then I was like, oh, damn, I just I started getting confidence from her because she really pushed me. So big shout out to Miss Cilias. But yeah, before that there was like very small numbers of kids in the music class when you were at the point in high school that you got to choose which subjects you could take, and I was the only person really just consistently choosing music because yeah, everyone just thought it was like, oh, free period to play around. But yeah, I not particular like instrument lessons.
Yeah, the path that you had to create yourself. Especially being the one and only. I too have navigated PWI institutions where you really have to be strong with identity and have to maneuver through that, right? Which is a whole other conversation. But I'm very happy. Shout out to the educator that helped you to get out of that shell because, I mean, you are an international star that is truly making and creating this lane of hip hop that essentially Sankofa's back to where it started in that consciousness of rap. So now this experimentation, right? So you said you experimented then. Do you still experiment to honor those traditions of hip hop? Talk to me.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. Like I love to experiment on like different time signatures in terms of like beats that I receive or beats that I want to craft with like certain producers, like how to not just rap the same 4 bars like that, like how to rap on a I don't know 6 to 8 kind of time signature or like trying to do like just rapping over drum and bass or something like that. I feel like there's so many ways to tell my story or tell different stories, not just over something that people will be like, oh yeah, this sounds like a Nyota Parker type beat. Although I would love that to be something, because when you type on YouTube like, oh something type beat, and it comes up with like a whole bunch of beats that sounds like this artist would be on it. I do want that to be a thing at some point on YouTube. On Nyota Parker type beat, but I want it to be really vast. So I'm always experimenting with that. With some of my favorite things in recording are harmonies. So I'm always figuring out what the next best harmony could be. I really love that. I love adding that melodic aspect to like my raps and then always singing on the hooks. Yeah, there's all kinds of experimentation, even visually. I'm trying to do more videos as my songs come out. So you'll definitely see some more of that fashion as well. Like I love fashion and colors and everything.
Oh yeah, I've seen, like I said, I saw the Soulless video. There is Mixed that you have out. There is a collab that you have, I think, with Uno Lucky. Is that the name?
Live.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a lot of different things that are out there, and really, you're just getting started. You said you were born in 2000, like right when the world was changing and going into this digital era that we're in. So you're really only in the beginnings, the tip of the iceberg when it comes to your musical journey. So I'm real excited now to see what you're doing, and then my own research to see what you have done. But the future is yours, my dear, to truly create this and then teach others. I think what you're doing today here on the podcast is that you're really sharing how to be outspoken from the roots of being shy and maybe a bit unsure at first, but using these influences and being so sure of yourself. I hope that that resonates to the audience and to the world, that, being you is enough. You are enough, and even more so. Yes, ma'am.
No, I appreciate that. It's definitely more enough. I feel like that's also living by my mom as well. My mom is actually, she just arrived right now. She's here right somewhere. But yeah, I think what was I? There was something I was going to say at this moment.
Yeah, about being true to yourself and being and teaching that to others through your music. That storytelling that you do.
I had it on tip of my tongue. Almost got distracted. I was like, never mind. But no,
it'll come back.
More than enough, for sure.
Yeah. Telling people that you are enough. I love all of that. That's exactly what you say. And that's the type of music, that's so impressionable on the younger generation, where, I celebrate all different types of hip hop, right? That is my research. That is my joy and my love to listen and to embrace all the different types. But again, what do you want for people to take away from your music, right? What is the goal that you have when people listen to your music? And even 20 years, 100 years from now, when someone plays or finds that Nyota Parker beat or that song, what do you want to make certain that you leave with the audience?
Yeah, like my main thing is like the keywords hyphenated is not compromising. Like that's the one thing that I think is true, because people mix up inspiration, copying, or they mix that up so much. So I think me not compromising even in the littlest thing, it can always snowball into something bigger. So that's what I want people to take away. I didn't compromise like the message in my music. I didn't compromise the fact that I don't swear in my music as well. So it allows people to be more intentional in terms of collaborations and what they're listening to as well. So like even something as small as like, oh yeah, you can't say this word on my song. It's like, oh wait, people will take that very seriously. Like, okay, there's something bigger about this song that I didn't realize, and then that's it. But if I were to allow something like that on my songs, then what else am I going to allow to, I guess, change my character? So it's all about that, not conforming in a sense. Like sometimes I see myself as being a bit too too straight edge in terms of like, I don't know, I don't drink or smoke or I don't know, stuff like that. But I know I have a bunch of friends or just people who I know around town who do, and it's like, yeah, it's totally normal. But I'm like, I don't want to do that. And it's not just because my mom is sitting next to me. It's because personally I don't see the for me it benefits to my life in particular. So it just yeah, I feel like people are a lot of the time afraid to be like actually I don't like the way that feels, or the way it tastes and stuff. I'm half Irish. The Irish like to drink, and I've asked my mom when I was younger permission, like, can I taste what this tastes like, the Guinness? Because I'm not just gonna be like, oh yeah, no, but I'm gonna taste it. I'm like, that tastes terrible. So I don't know how people are doing it. It tastes so bad. Yeah, I think compromise. That was like the what I was coming from. But yeah.
Yeah. And so well said, and I appreciate your vulnerability, right? To say and to ensure that you have that boundary, that what your yes means yes, and your no is a full sentence. What you choose to do is absolutely your choice, and what you choose not to do, that speaks to your independence, right? I think being independent is something that's very important for you, you know, especially with, you know, keeping the rights to your music, having that creative ability to, you know, merge the genres, to make these visuals, you know, that independence of creating something. Sure, there's pressures that are there, but you still are able to maintain self. And I think that's still vitally important these days, where you don't have to do anything if you do not want to. Just because it's trending, just because everyone else on social media or around you is doing so, you can still stay as you because you are enough. That independence. So I see that vision.
Absolutely, very good at condensing like everything, and like yeah, you're very well spoken with your breakdowns. It's nice, very nice.
Well, inspired by you, Nyota Parker, because again, that is what your music does. And I'm so thankful to share that and be able to talk to you about that because, you know, that's my goal for this podcast, is to give artists their flowers, for them to know that, you know, people are listening, people are watching, and they're learning. And I think especially for artists like yourself, that's your goal, is that you want to impact people in a positive way. You want to be able to not have to be in the mainstream and to have to dress differently or sound differently because somebody told you to do that, when you were raised to be honorable of yourself and your family and your friends.
Yeah.
You know, that is what is the most important. And that's something that people definitely can learn from. So that independence, talk to me about what independence looks like for you when it comes to your music and even in the business of the music as well.
Yeah, independence, I would say, means owning, literally just owning everything to do with my craft. It doesn't mean not allowing, other people to be like, oh yeah, maybe you should, doesn't mean like stopping ideas from those around you, but it's just you having the last say in your craft. So that's where I really like to hold on to. So also I'm trying to like build partnerships rather than having any type of 360 deals that will take over my, the entirety of my image, my brand, whatever. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, you having the last say and being able to like put your foot down, and and that's not meaning like once again like you are stunning ideas away. It's like you take on what you feel like is going to elevate you, and then you got to put your foot down on what you feel is just it is not for you. That's yeah. I feel like it's simple like that. You know.
Yeah, simple like that. Just my yes means yes, my no means no, and my maybes, I'll get back to you and
Yeah.
respect that boundary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boundary is a good word for that. Yeah, it's setting the right boundaries.
That's right. And that's super important too in all aspects of life.
Hmm.
Music being something that a lot of people, the majority of people, you know, get in tune with, pun intended, because
Hmm.
that helps for them to form their identity. So I'm happy to see that a group of you know, boys, girls, non-binary people will be able to be blessed by that, by having such an example, by having a role model like the Nyota Parker. So thank you so very much for being that artist, for being yourself and being that lyricist that is non-negotiable, that you are unrelenting when it comes to producing music that you can be proud of. Especially your mother, she's your manager, correct?
Yes, she's my manager and she's right here. Do you want to make your
Please do so. Yes,
say hello? Just say one hello.
she'd love to have. Is she Miss Parker as well? Is
Yes, Miss Parker Bukasa. Hello.
hello. How are you, Miss Parker?
How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much. I am just enamored with your daughter. She is such a phenom. And I was just asking her about the management. Her mother, Miss Parker as well. The way that she navigates her music. Do you want to speak for us, Miss Parker, about, just how important it is to support your daughter as she continues on the cusp of greatness when it comes to the music?
Wow, great, nice. That's so worth.
Yeah, I have to say that, first of all, I believe in everybody's gift. Uh, that's where it's from. So before even her, like everybody's gift is valid and it's made to excel. So her being in music, I support it because that's her gift and she needs to excel. And the fact that she is, I, I, I don't want to take credit of anything because she's her own person who's creative within her own way. And I just am there to support and make sure that she reaches her potential. Uh, and also, even if that was she was picking up a garbage that being, I would do exactly the same thing in the same way I would invest everything from knowledge, resources, whatever, money, whatever it is. I'll still invest in it. But I'm just glad that she has a big voice, a big channel. Some people's channels are different than others. So her channel has to reach millions, which is great. It means that she can influence people either in the right way or in a completely wrong way. And she's not doing music only because she loves it. So she's doing it to be impactful and
Right.
all the right way. So, and me also being obviously a Christian woman, yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have to also like encourage that I would want to be impactful in a positive way. Music for it.
Man, that
That's
I'm all for it too, Miss Parker. Yes, ma'am. Nyota, I'm sorry, what were you getting ready to say?
no. I'm saying that's where I get it from. That's all of that from this lady.
Yeah. I mean, that's a gift as well to have the mother that supports you no matter what. If you were picking up bins, if you wanted to do hair, if you wanted to paint walls, she's gonna be there for you 1000%. And that speaks volumes. And that's definitely a lesson to be learned too, is support. That support of, you know, mighty are the few. I say that to my scholars. Mighty are the few. You don't need a big gathering. You can have millions and millions of followers, yet at the same token, who you have in your space is sacred. And it's so important that you have those ideals, that you have that foundation. You were saying earlier about how your mom and your uncles, they were the ones that gave you this experience to research this music and
Yeah.
hone in on this gift, even sending you to that school to make certain that you had the best of the best of the best so that you can absolutely be who you are destined to be.
Yeah.
And I appreciate hearing that.
No,
Yes, ma'am.
I appreciate you,
The
being
platform.
the platform and for wanting to hear my background and this lady. This is what
Miss Manager Lady, little boss lady there, indeed.
indeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
So, uh-huh. Yes, ma'am.
oh no, I was just making a comment. I was just saying like yeah, I'm very glad. I'm very happy.
Oh yeah, and I want to honor your time, because I can speak with you and ask you so many more questions, but I want you to leave a lasting word as we end the podcast. Again, to those artists who may not even know that they are a true artist, like your mother was saying, everybody has a gift. Everybody is gifted and talented in some way. What is something that you can share to that one person? We don't have to worry about all of the thousands of viewers, but to that one person that's listening that could use that motivation themselves, even find some encouragement, what would you like to share with them?
I would say something as simple as because it can be taken in different ways. I would say like to do it can be so many things. I don't mean like do it as in like go, I don't know, smoke crack or something. I don't know. I mean like do it as in if you feel in your heart that you're not gonna really lose anything from like trying to go out and like freestyle on the street and be like, I'm gonna share this piece of art or this piece of knowledge, or you're gonna tell this person that you think their hair is pretty and it's gonna make their day. If you feel like it's gonna make a good impact, or even if like a lot of my background when it comes to traveling is has always been a matter of just like happenstance. I just happen to be living in New York for longer than I thought I was gonna. I just happened to be in Montreal, and like I always use the phrase like I wasn't supposed to. Like, I feel like that word should just be left at the door, because if I wasn't in Montreal and made the friends that I did, I wasn't gonna make that the song Soulless. I wasn't gonna make that Tiny Desk contest thingy. I wasn't gonna perform at the Jazz Fest this year. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
that's like it's okay. It's gonna be okay. Just do it. You know what I mean? I'm not.
Yeah, I love that. Just do it. Do away with the words "I'm not supposed to," whatever.
That's the main thing. That also, yeah, don't the whole I was supposed to. I should have. I would just let that go. That's what
That's
I
right.
yeah.
Let it go and let God,
And
and go on your path.
and I have faith. Truly, like you cannot do any of this without having the right faith. Yeah.
I know that's right. Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through
So
Him who strengthens
strengthens
me.
me. Yes, absolutely. And also to add, my mom, she does ministry stuff, so I've been learning from a young age too. So I think that's what helps with my faith specifically.
That's right. Honing in on that faith, never letting go. Even just that little bit of a mustard seed can move mountains. And you, my dear, you are at the top of these mountains. There, you have a great gift, and God has so much in store for you. I want to thank you so much for your
Thank
time
you.
here on the Hip Hop Scholar Podcast. Oh, you are welcome, my dear. Your music too, your music especially. Please continue to work on your music and to share your music. It is
Out.
really, really phenomenal.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Out. I'm excited to share that, or sonically or visually as well. Oh, before I forget, maybe this part you can edit out because it's just a comment. At the beginning, I remember you mentioned Concert de Fait. That's actually just an album that I was featured on one of my friends. That one, but it's a super sick album, really, really dope. He's based in Montreal, and then maybe so yeah, that one, that one is just friends, and then the albums that I would say to highlight would be like specifically Intrusive Thoughts, because Age of Enlightenment, I made that I was like 16 or 17, and it's on SoundCloud. I was like, I don't feel, that album is not it anymore. But you can, it's dope to mention like specifically Intrusive Thoughts, where I feel like that one, I I grew into more of myself. There's more of like an experimental one, and then there's more coming. But yeah, just had to mention those two points.
And I can leave this in the podcast. Like, I very rarely edit out anything. The truth of the matter of what it is. I am going to edit that part out with the microphone piece, but of course, my research. I do my best with my research to ensure and to look through everything as I go along. But again, the music. Oh.
Everything.
I'm just enamored with you, Miss Nyota Parker, and I'm glad to have introduced you to anyone who hasn't heard of you yet here at the Hip Hop Scholar Podcast. You are definitely what's coming up next, and I'll be there as a fan. When you come to Texas, I will be front row, promise you that.
Oh, I really appreciate I'll be there. I've been planning to really come to Texas. I have a good friend and collaborator and musician called Jazz Groupies, who is from Texas. Where's he? He's in Houston, right? Yeah, he's in Houston, Texas.
That's where I am. I'm in H-Town too, so yes.
Wonderful. He's like family at this point, so you're gonna find me there.
You'll see me on that front row. I want to thank you again, you and manager Miss Parker. Thank you both for being on the Hip Hop Scholar Podcast. With that said, if she wants to wave in the camera and say a bit adieu to the audience. See you later. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right, y'all. So that's the end of the Hip Hop Scholar Podcast with the Nyota Parker. You'll see the links to her videos right under this video in the caption. And from there, we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Bye.